Recently, I had an experience with credit card fraud that caused so much unnecessary stress and anxiety. I spent hours on the phone and in chats with my credit card company. I had to get two different cards before the fraud stopped, and I was so worried about what was going to happen to my money in my bank account. And I sometimes have the fear that it's going to happen again, right? And that's why I'm so excited to introduce You Are the Healer's newest sponsor, Aura, an app for protecting online data and personal information. Cleaning up my information not only helps reduce the amount of spam I get, but it protects me from hackers who could use this information to help them access things like my social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Protecting yourself and your personal information is a form of self-care. I swear. Go to my sponsor, aura.com/healer to get a 14-day free trial and have peace of mind knowing your information is safe. Again, that's aura, aura.com/healer for your 2-week free trial. You Are the Healer is sponsored by BetterHelp. Therapy is mandatory because there's absolutely nothing wrong with seeking help. I think every person who walks this earth needs therapy, honestly. I'm stoked to be connected with BetterHelp to offer affordable and accessible therapy resources. The link is in my show notes, and you can also go to betterhelp.com/healer. That's better, HELP.com/healer. Now let's get into this episode. In this episode of You Are the Healer of this season of Metamorphosis, we are going to start by talking about shedding our old self. Shedding that nice, cozy cocoon that used to serve us, but now is keeping us trapped, where we want to fly, we want to expand, we want to grow, we want to be happy and healthy and well. And this cocoon that used to be our home, that used to be nurturing and safe for us, is now holding us back. And that is a huge, huge lesson that I am learning right now. Metamorphosis is essentially the process when a butterfly becomes a butterfly. So you start off as a caterpillar, you're crawling around, you eat your leaves, and then, once you get fed enough, you start to spin yourself into this cocoon because the caterpillar is starting to grow wings and it needs some rest and nurturing before it breaks out of this chrysalis and expands into a butterfly and starts to fly around, all magical. So I really wanted to do the season of Metamorphosis because I just felt like this was such a metaphor for mental health because, sometimes we feel called to go internal and to nurture ourselves and to build a safe little cocoon. And then sometimes that safe little cocoon stops serving us. And that is a point in my life that I just got to. I felt like, so for some backstory, growing up, I really learned early on that I had to play small and downplay my needs and just be basically a fly on the wall so that I didn't rock the boat so I could survive in my household. That's the lesson that I learned. And that served me at the time, right? And now, growing into my life, this is something that actively holds me back. This survival mechanism that served me when I was a child is now the thing that is leading to self-sabotage and that's leading to me not expanding and not flying and not being my best self. And so I really feel called to share this message because it's so personal to my life right now. Like, I feel like my wings are ripping this cocoon, but this cocoon, metaphorically, like this old version of myself that I used to be, this version that used to be safe and nurturing and warm and enticing and feel like home, doesn't feel that way anymore. But I'm at this precipice of, oh, but the cocoon feels so great and the cocoon's all I know, to I want to break the fuck out of this cocoon and I want to flap my little wings because I've been growing my wings for so long. It's time for me to fly. And so today I want to talk about shedding your old self and shedding the version of yourself that you no longer need and shedding any limiting beliefs that you have, anything that's not serving you, anything that is preventing you from stepping into your power, from being exactly who you are meant to be. Because part of life is growing and evolving, and I don't think it's talked about enough how painful it can be to outgrow something. And you can outgrow people, you can outgrow the place that you're living, you can outgrow a job, you can outgrow a version of yourself. And that identity crisis that comes with outgrowing a version of yourself is very intense. And it's something that I really just am going through right now. I feel pulled to stay small and to stay in this old headspace, this old version of myself that can't fit anymore. The version of me now cannot fit in this cocoon. I'm ripping it, right? And it's painful and it's confusing. And I mean, let's just talk about it, right? So, I've lived my whole life pretty much the identity of I'm a sad girl. I had depression growing up, and so much familiarity comes from feeling sad for me. And I don't like to feel sad. I mean, part of me thinks it's familiar, so it's comfortable, it's cozy, it's home, but I'd rather be happy. I'd rather be peaceful. I would rather be so many other emotions than sad. And so I feel myself wanting to move away from who I was. Yet that's really freaking terrifying because it's kind of all I know. All that I know is this cozy cocoon of who I used to be, this cocoon of sadness, this cocoon of, oh, poor me, of someone who's too scared to stand up straight and to speak her mind because she's worried that other people are going to judge her. And so it's really uncomfortable and painful and can even be confusing shedding a past version of yourself because you don't know what you're walking into next. And that's something that I'm really noticing is like, I am terrified of the expansion that can come from leaving my cocoon. And yet, that expansion I know is going to bring me so much abundance and healing and the ability to spread this message and make a difference in this world. Like that to me is more important than the fear that is keeping me small. So even though it's confusing, even though it's unknown and it can be difficult, like I would so much rather break out of my cocoon and see the world for the first time and be a little overwhelmed and a little scared and a little nervous than to try to shove myself back into a cocoon when I don't belong in one. And you don't either. And so that's why we're talking about this episode. And that's why we have all gone through metamorphosis in our life. Okay. We have all been transformed, right? Internally, externally. Things change, people change, right? And so life is all about navigating that change. And how can we nurture ourselves and tend to ourselves and give ourselves grace and compassion as we change stages in our life? So, how do we know what our cocoon is? How do we know what's keeping us in this safe box so that we can expand out of it? And I want you to ask yourself, in what ways am I holding myself back? And really meditate on that. And really, you can journal about it. What ways am I holding myself back? Because we all do things to keep us in this little box. We all self sabotage. We all have ways that we are holding ourselves back. And then you can ask yourself, what beliefs are holding me back? What beliefs are holding me back? And it's going to be different for everybody, right? But there are things that we do that keep us from being our authentic selves, from being that free butterfly that just flaps around without a care in the world. So I want you to go internal and ask yourself, what am I doing that's holding myself back? What do I believe about life? What do I believe about myself, about other people, about my career that's holding me back? Because we all deserve to be free and to be our best selves. And a lot of the times, unfortunately, what I'm realizing right now is a lot of the times we are the ones getting in our own way. It's easy to look at other people and to say, oh, they're why I can't get what I want. My boss is a jerk. That's why I can't be successful or happy in my job and my career. That's easy to externalize and to blame other people. But what really takes some humility is saying, how am I limiting myself? And how can I stop doing that? Right? That's what we're here to talk about is how can I stop limiting myself? How can I stop self-sabotaging and truly live my best life? So what I want to start off with is a guided visualization meditation about meeting your old self and saying goodbye to them and meeting your higher self and taking what you want from them. Okay? And I actually got this idea from my mindfulness partner for my nurse coaching program. Literally today, she led me through this, and I was like, that is so powerful. I want to do a podcast episode about it. So, Marissa, if you're listening, thank you. Okay, so I want you to get cozy in the seat that you're in. If you're walking, that's okay. Just pay attention to your surroundings. If you're driving, obviously don't close your eyes. You can do this visualization with your eyes open and really just try to drop into the present moment and be aware of what's going on so that you can reap the benefits of this visualization exercise. So, wherever you are, get comfortable, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. See if you can get like 5% more comfortable. And I want you to picture walking up to a full body mirror. And as you walk up to that mirror, you see this old version of yourself. You see this version of you that is your inner critic. You see this version of you that's holding you back. And I just want you to spend some time with this version of yourself. Because this version of yourself is trying their best. This version of you is trying to help. So I want you to spend some time with this version of yourself and tell that version whatever it needs to hear. You can say something along the lines of, "Thank you for protecting me, but I got it from here." You can say, "I know you're trying your best, and you're not helping me anymore." And I want you to visualize these cords tying the present version of you to this past version of you. You can picture them however you'd like. Right now, I'm thinking of the silky web that starts to build a chrysalis. This sticky, strong material that's binding you to this past version of yourself. This version of yourself that you want to let go of, that you want to break free from. And I want you to thank this version of you and say, "I got it from here. I don't need you anymore." And I want you to picture, however works best in your brain, pulling those cords that are connecting you to this old version of yourself. So you can muscle it out with your hands and rip the cords from your past version of you to the future version of you. You can visualize big scissors snipping the cord, being done with it, saying, "No, thank you, no more. I got it from here." And once all of your cords tying you to this old version of you are severed, I want you to say goodbye. I want you to say goodbye to this past version of yourself. Lovingly, with love, let this version of you go. And I want you to visualize that past version of you walking out of the frame of the mirror. They disappear. They have left your life. And I want you to breathe into your body right now and notice how it feels to energetically release yourself from this past version of you. Has anything in your body changed? Has some fear started to creep in? Do you feel excited? Just notice how you feel. without this past version of you dragging you down, without the weight of the chrysalis keeping you confined. And now I want you to picture the highest version of yourself, the wisest, strongest, the all-knowing version of you. I want you to picture them walking into this mirror. How do they stand? What are they wearing? What do you have to learn from them? And when you have a good look at this highest version of you, I want you to start connecting yourself to them. So that could look like spinning webs from them onto you. That could look like embracing them and receiving all that they have to tell you. It would look like giving them a hug. I visualized going into their mind and braiding all that they have to know, all that wisdom, and braiding that into my own head and having this direct connection with my higher self. This higher self that believes in you, that knows you are worthy, that knows you are capable. I want you to connect yourself, string yourself to this version, however your mind wants to. And I want you to sit in this feeling of connection with your higher self. And rest easy knowing that you have everything you need to be successful. It's all provided for. All you have to do is access it. So often we yearn for something more. We try to live in the future and grind and chip away at the next thing, when all that's true and real is this present moment. That is the only thing that's real. And you have everything you need in this present moment to access the version of you that you want to be. You have grown. You have learned lessons that are going to serve you in the future. Your wings are formed fully. All you have to do now is trust yourself. Take a chance on yourself. And know that you were born to fly. You were born to soar and to succeed and to be happy. That is your right. That is your birthright, to be happy. And things can get in the way of that sometimes, whether it's yourself, beliefs that were put onto you from somebody else. Sometimes we forget that we have all that we need, that we are all that we need. And I want this to be a reminder. You can say to yourself out loud or in your head, I am all that I need. I am all that I need. Take a deep breath in. And when you exhale, shed that version of you that you cut ties with. You don't need them. When you inhale, say, I believe in myself. I believe in myself. Now, lovingly say goodbye to your higher self and still feel all the ways that you're tied to them. Feel that energetic connection you have to this higher version of yourself. And know that you can access this version whenever you'd like. They live within you. They are you. And you have the ability to access that wisdom, that guidance, that knowing, that intuition, that confidence, that belief, that peace. That's all within you. All you have to do is believe in it. It's all there. Take another deep breath in. And when you exhale, drop your shoulders down and sigh. And when you feel ready, open your eyes and notice, how do you feel now? How do you feel now that you've shedded this version of you that's holding you back? How do you feel now that you're tied and connected with the higher self that's pulling you up? They are raising your vibration. They are helping you. They are allowing you to believe in yourself. How does it feel? How does that difference feel? I know for me, I feel so clear headed. And that is something that I did not have the last couple weeks, months. I was feeling very confused. And when I spend time with my higher self, when I intentionally release my past self, I just feel calm and clear. Like, I got this. And you got this. You do. You just have to believe that you do. And so when we shed this old version of ourselves, when we shed things that don't fit us anymore, when we shed friendships, jobs, people, spaces, beliefs, that can feel scary. And I empathize with you. I know exactly what that's like. And a lot of people know exactly what that's like. But when you shed these things, you make space for something new. You make space for something even better, something that fits this new version of you that's expansive, that isn't afraid to take up space, that likes to fly and be free. When you release these things that aren't serving you, when you break out of that chrysalis, however you did, whether it was with scissors, with your hands, when you break free of that limitation, you have space to allow what's new. You have space to allow what's now in alignment with you. And let me just tell you, there is nothing wrong with you for outgrowing other things. There is nothing wrong with you if you have to sever a friendship because you're no longer in alignment. Even if that's someone that you've been friends with for years. This happens. This happens when you're on your healing journey. Not everyone is on the same page as you the whole time. And someone in your life might have really helped you and served you through a certain time in your life, but now you might be on different pages. They might really be still in that chrysalis phase, nurturing themselves, cocooning themselves, just like you were. But now, sometimes you might not line up with people in the same way. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. And you're not a bad person for shedding people, things, jobs. You're not a bad person for outgrowing your old life. Unfortunately, this is just something that happens. And I love you and I support you through this change. It can be super, super difficult. And I'm here for you. I'm right there with you. Literally, I'm exactly in this process right now. And it's okay. Because you know what? When you do this hard thing of shedding things that don't serve you, when you do this hard thing of releasing beliefs, releasing things that are keeping you small and in fear and holding you back, you are allowing even better to come into your life. Things that are so much better that you literally can't even imagine them. And this is something that I've learned over and over again is when I let go of things that aren't serving me anymore, it's painful, it's difficult, it's hard. I don't want to do it. It feels like there's a lot of resistance sometimes when I release things that aren't in alignment anymore. But literally right after I do, right after I drop that person, that belief, that habit, there is abundance that comes. There is this sweet reward from the universe or whatever you believe in. you literally get rewarded for releasing things that don't serve you because you energetically have space for things that do. And you're proving to yourself, you're proving to source, the universe, God, whoever, I release things that aren't for me and I make space for things that are. And the things that are for you will flood in. And you'll have tons of butterflies flying all around you because you're now a butterfly. And you can rest easy knowing that even when you have to say goodbye to things, even when you have to let things go, there is greatness on the other side of it. And you just have to push through that fear, that initial fear, to get to it. I want you to know that if you are in this process of breaking free of your own limitations, of shedding your past self, of letting go of things that are no longer serving you, I see you, I love you, and I'm here to support you. I know that we might be far physically, you might have never even met me, but I'm here and I'm rooting for you and I believe in you because I truly believe we are all connected. And so many of our stories are so similar and our lessons are cyclical and we experience them over and over and at the same time as other people, and it's so beautiful. And it can also be really hard, and a lot of times we feel really, really alone in our struggles because it's not talked about. What we see online is highlight reels and smiles and the best of the best. But no one's out here talking about how much sorrow comes from losing somebody that you've outgrown. No one is talking about the uncomfortability of losing your old identity. No one is sitting there talking about the imposter syndrome that comes with leaving your conventional job and taking a chance on yourself. That is not talked about very often. And so I have, this platform and this voice to spread this message of you are not alone. I am here for you. I struggle too. I struggle all the time. That's why I have this freaking podcast, is to help people realize that they're not alone in their struggles and that we can all learn from each other. And a lot of times we're not as different as we think. A lot of times we're going through the same thing as other people side by side. We just don't even know it because we're scared to be vulnerable. We're scared to show up as our true selves. We're scared, oh, is this person going to judge me? Is this oversharing? X, Y, and Z, which is preventing us from connecting with one another. And I'm here just to remind you that we are all connected. And I love you and I support you in this journey so tenderly with my whole heart, my whole big caring heart. I'm here to support you and to love you through this uncomfortable growth that happens with healing. It's a part of it, unfortunately. And if you can't be enthusiastic about it, you can at least accept it, right? If you can't be like, yes, I'm changing, I'm growing, woohoo, you can say, okay, I'm changing and I'm growing and I accept that. Okay. So thank you so, so much for listening to this episode, the first one in our season of Metamorphosis, where we will completely change our form, our structure, our substance, and transform in a seemingly magical way to have profound change in our lives as we move through these stages of healing. And we're going to spiral upwards together and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to give tools and actions and resources and all these things that we can use to help ourselves and each other. So I thank you so, so much for listening to this episode of You Are the Healer. It would mean the absolute world to me if you shared the podcast with someone who hasn't heard it before, someone that desperately needs healing, which is literally everybody. We all need it. So pretty please share this episode with someone you think might enjoy it or someone who needs it. Might be two different things. And I would super appreciate it if you would leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or subscribe to the podcast and really follow me and support me in that way. I'm on Instagram at You're the Healer, the letter U, the letter R, the healer. And until next time, I love you so, so much. I'm proud of you. I believe in you, and you've got this. I'm taking a little bit of a break from today's episode because I have a really exciting announcement. I am doing a nurse coaching program at the moment so I can work as a board certified nurse coach one-on-one with clients, which is much more my speed for what I'd like to do with my career. So, what that means and why I'm speaking about it to you guys on the pod is I need clients to coach for free while I practice and build my skills. So, if you are someone that is dedicated to your healing journey, which you probably are if you're listening to You Are the Healer, I would love for you to fill out the form in the show notes so that we can get connected and I can get some coaching practice hours.